Welcome to Marshland Histories, Series 2 of the Oral History podcast celebrating the Lower Waveney Valley, the people, the places and the marshes. In this episode, I've been chatting to Suffolk Wildlife Trust's Vicky Eyles, who is informed and passionate about our local nature reserves at Carlton and Worlingham Marshes. I wanted to find out more from Vicky about her job and how she ended up working for the Trust and where her interest in conservation began.
So I'm originally from Norfolk, so I grew up kind of Norfolk-Suffolk boundaries in a little village near Thetford called Munford, so in the middle of the Thetford Forest. And my job at Suffolk Wildlife Trust, I'm the Senior Wilder Communities Officer. So I've been with the Trust for just over 2.5 years now and came in to work on the Worlingham Marshes project, which is our Heritage Fund project, and have been kept on to work within our new Nature Action team. The project has been based around our new nature reserve that we have created at Worlingham Marshes. But our reserves team, luckily, they've got years and years and years of experience and know so many local people. And then my role coming in to work with community groups, and I love being able to take people out into nature, noticing the things that they might have already seen before and just not taken the time to slow down and spot, and creating that engagement between their everyday life and the wildlife that is there alongside them. So I always wanted to work with nature. I always wanted to work with animals, but I didn't know how or what. And I was an avid David Attenborough documentary watcher. I loved Big Cat Diary, was one of my obsessions as a kid. Well, I wanted to be David Attenborough, really. I wanted the BBC to pay me lots of money to go and visit lots of different places and discover all the wildlife.
So what have you discovered about the Waveney Valley? And how is that different?
Do you know, it's been really lovely. Growing up in Norfolk, my area was trees and I was on the edge of the Brecks, which is a very, very different habitat. So coming over to the marshland and seeing how the cattle are grazed and moved, you know, learning about how people would grow their reeds and their rushes and have those kind of shared marshland areas. It's interesting seeing how the land has been managed and then what can be achieved with Suffolk Wildlife Trust taking the land on. So for example, at Carlton Marshes, there's Peato's Marsh up kind of the north-east end, that was in, I've got a photo in front of me, it says 2016. It was all ploughed and we think chemically treated. And yeah, so the land was completely changed from what was this natural marshland. It was dried out, water was pumped off, the soil was changed completely. And then 2019, when the Trust was able to buy the land, they slowly were able to return it to what was best for wildlife. We have people come to the Lower Waveney Valley from all over the country because we have got some of the best nature reserves for the marshland wildlife. Birders will travel from every edge of the country to come, Carlton Marshes especially with Peato's Marsh. We get so many interesting, rare things coming in and spending time, and you know, even things like the dragonflies. We've got some really amazing pockets of rare species because of the science, because of the survey work, because of the expertise of the reserves team. And then when the engagement team are able to talk to people in person, they get to see all that science and that the conservation actually working. So I love being able to go out and taking natural history items, so, you know, skulls, dead butterflies, bits of plant matter, really interesting things that are tactile, that are engaging. And I'm able to take the nature to those people and go, look at it, isn't it amazing? And hopefully through kind of fanning the spark of interest that I find there, encourage them So come to nature reserves and see that it is for everybody. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to know what bird it is that you are listening to. You don't need to know what plant that butterfly has just landed on. You can go as a complete novice and just be in nature and just enjoy being there.
One particular writer of the past who would surely have applauded Suffolk Wildlife Trust's work at Carlton and Worlingham Marshes was William Alfred Dutt. Born near Bungay in 1870, in his day he was one of the best known and most popular writers on the East Anglian countryside. In 1909 he moved to Carlton Colville, where he and his wife lived in a cottage full of books they called Waveney Cottage, named in honour of local writer George Borrow, who often celebrated the Waveney people in his work and whom Dutt wrote a book about. William Dutt certainly added to the knowledge of various plant species growing around Alton Broad and Carlton Colville, drawing on his passion for botany, geology and topography. In one of his many books, Wildlife in East Anglia, published in 1906, Dutt collated a virtual A to Z of the colloquial local names for birds. For example, an avocet, which was known for its beak as a cobbler's awl. So I couldn't resist turning some of these marvellous forgotten names into a poem. William Dutt's East Anglian bird names. A barn owl was known as Billy Wit. A pudding poke, the name for a long-tailed tit. A spoonbill they'd call Banjo Bill. A sea crow was a herring gull. A swift on the wing was a shriek owl. The avocet, for its beak, a cobbler's awl. The bittern, for its boom, was a bottle bump. A sky goat, the bleat of the common snipe. A song thrush was a mavish. A pied wagtail tagged Polly Washdish. The hedge sparrow, just call her Hedge Betty. And all stand for the goldfinch, crowned King Harry.